Hello, it's Deborah here from Maddisons, and thank you so much again to the wonderful Claire and her fabulous following that she's got for letting us give you another useful insight in the world of estate agency. And what I wanted to do this week was talk to you about things to consider when you're going to be selling your property. It's one of the most stressful things you will ever do. It ranks up there with death, divorce, and it is unbelievably stressful. I think you go into it thinking it's going to be a wonderful, happy process. Your much loved home. Did you know 78% of people, according to a Rightmove survey, think their house is the best one on the road? That's statistically impossible. There's only one best house on the road. But you love your home. Of course you think it's the best. Take it to market. You're full of excitement. There's some need why you need to sell and something that you want to achieve with your next move, and you think it's going to be a joyous ride. Kind of not really. It's very stressful. Lots of people used to say to me, I used to want to be an estate agent until I saw a glimpse into your world and the horrors that you have to deal with all the time. Market is tricky at the moment. It's no issue really getting an offer, but then getting that offer to exchange is where the real hard work starts in this market. A lot of nervousness, people bidding for things that isn't perhaps 100% what they want, pulling out later on. So we have a lot of work to do that. So you need to make sure that you are really ready for this when you go in for it. And the most important thing, therefore, for me is all around timing. I think we could all think, isn't there, is there ever a best time to have a child or move house or change job? And the reality is sometimes you've just got to go for it. There's probably a need that's been building up within you as to why you feel you want to move home. It might be a forced sale. You might have no choice. Might be divorce or moving jobs or needing to pay off some debt. But there might also be a more of a desire-driven desire to move. So you might want an extra bedroom, bigger garden, off-road parking, or you might be coming down the scale the other side, helping maybe parents with downsizing and things like that. So there can be lots of different reasons as to why you want to move. And I think you've got to really feel that dissatisfaction in your current home has reached a point where you really want to take the step and the plunge. And so it's important to think, therefore, are you ready for the viewings? They can be exhausting, tidying up, getting ready, and then the work that's involved afterwards in terms of getting your property to exchange and also finding your onward property. You're going to need to do a bit of work around that as well. So have you got the time and the headspace to deal with this? I would probably say there's no perfect time to move home, just like there's no perfect time to have a child. Sometimes you've just got to go for it, but you need to make sure that you do have that time. And also think about how can you maximise the value of your property. Buyers generally sit in one of two camps. They either are a project buyer or they like the finished article, or they might want something that needs a little bit of tarting and turning, sits somewhere in the middle. But generally they form in those two large camps. So if your house, if you've done 80% of it, you've changed the kitchen, redecorated, recarpeted, done the garden, but you've just left a couple of bathrooms, don't be fooled into thinking that your buyer is going to want to put their own mark on that. They probably won't. You're going to attract a buyer who wants to move into your lifestyle and buy into your vision of a home. So they are not going to want to start replacing bathrooms. So if you've got time and budget, energy and inclination, then get those bathrooms changed. Trust your gut, go with what the rest of your house looks like. Don't make it too outlandish and wow, but just go for a nice neutral, fresh palette that ties in with the look and feel of the rest of your home. So if you've got the time to do those last jobs, then do that. And also think of all those kind of red flag jobs. So buyers will form an impression within about 90 seconds of coming into your home. So tidy up the front, paint your fascia boards, clean out your gutters, paint your front door, do those kind of real first impression or red flag jobs. If you've had a patch of damp where a bathroom leaked or a shower leaked 3 years ago and you haven't got round to sorting it out, sort it out. It's a sign to a buyer that you have loved your property, you've cared for it, and therefore they will feel that about the rest of the house. So find the time to do those jobs, and when they're done, then get your property to market. And also, timing-wise, if you can see there's a way that you can really add value to your property, this could be a big extension or a bedroom, and again, you've got the energy, time and inclination to do it, then do it. I'm always very happy to give valuations based on what I think it's worth now versus after. If there's not much money in it in terms of it will cost you, say, 80,000 and you will make 80, 90,000 on it, I probably say it's not worth the hassle. But if there's good money to be made from something, then you can time that really well. And equally, if your property is a real project property, this could be like an elderly relative's property that you've come into, just clear it and tidy it and make it as blank canvas as possible to give those vision buyers a chance to really vision how the space could be. So get the timing right in terms of your preparation. And also think about the assets of your property. If you've got a really, really great garden, you need to go to market in spring to kind of early autumn. Any later than that and your garden's just going to look a bit depressing and scary and a lot of work, make them buy into that vision of that beautiful garden. If you've got quite a dark house, don't sell it in the summer. I know that sounds really quite perverse, but it's true. You could come out on a lovely sunny day, go into a very dark cottagey style property and it will feel dark. So avoid selling those properties on those sort of days. If you've got a really tiny garden, probably avoid the real hot months. You can sell it almost any season, but just avoid those real summer peak months. So timing with the assets of your property in terms of what it can present is really important. And the other one to obviously consider on that is schooling. Always think about, do you live in a great school catchment area? If so, you need to be going to market when those buyers will be starting to think about having their child's name down on the list. For the grammar schools, that's normally around mid-December. So you can get a great price in the sort of back of the summer, early autumn market, providing you can commit to your buyer that you will be out by mid-December. So do think about those sort of things as well when coming to market. A good agent should be able to advise you on all of that. One of the problems I had when I set up Maddisons was I felt that most agents just vomited their stock onto the market with no sense of strategy as to what they were going to do to get the best outcome for that particular seller. And it's important to know what a seller's drivers are. Are they driven by need, speed or greed? Need, you've got to sell. Might be a divorce or debt, the things I alluded to earlier. Speed, you've seen something you like, you need to get on the market super fast to secure it. Or greed, can you take your time and get a really cracking price? And the strategy in my mind needs to reflect that. If you're a greed seller, you can afford to take your time. You can afford to take the photos of the garden in the summer and then launch in the early autumn or the next spring if people really want to not quite be ready but want to actually maximise the look of that property. If you're a speed seller, it's just about galvanising into action and getting on there as quickly as possible. So just knowing what your seller's objectives are, a good agent should then put a strategy together to achieve that. And think hard about the agent that you want to pick and work with. They should be like a trusted advisor. You need to feel happy with the whole team. Often the person who'll come out, who'll do the valuation, isn't the one who's actually going to do the viewings or negotiate the offers sometimes. We have quite a different approach here in Maddisons, but make sure you understand who is going to be selling my property and how much involvement do you want. The online agents are brilliant, but you are heavily involved if you want brilliant with a cheap deal, but you are heavily involved in trying to get that through. If you want a more involved advisory role, you need a good local high street agent. So those sort of factors are important to think about. So I hope that's been of use and of help. I look forward to bringing you my next kind of helpful insight into the world of buying and selling properties next time. And just to prove to you, I am in the depths of the summer at the moment. I feel all your working mum's pain. Let me show you what's been going on behind the camera. Just behind here. There is my youngest. She's plugged into the third parent, the iPad. On to holiday camp soon. Enjoy.